is the universe of our problem, which starts with consists of the origin countries that experience either war or a natural disaster that causes their citizens to be refugees who seeks opportunities and better life in EU countries or other countries, and they go there, live either in a relief camp and apply for asylum program. So the extreme organizations push their own people through among the refugees to infiltrate into the EU countries to apply their own agenda. We also have the hosting country capacities, which economic security and all of these resources. And can you go there to the refugee problem? So the refugee problem, they have lack of opportunities and other fears and problems in the society, which all of that contribute into to the extreme refugee problem we experience in the EU countries. And we can talk about we're gonna address the policies for our solutions. So we have the refugee problems. It's they have lack of opportunities and other problems because of the living in the refugee camps and all of that thing. So we have a list of policies to address all
we'll address the policies later actually once we get into our feasibility screening and once we converge all our different ideas. Hey guys, conference room, 5 minutes, okay? Mamma mia, I'm Italian Mike. I'm forced out of my pizza shop because of the European refugee crisis. I'm forced out of my home. What do you think?
Yeah, it's actually refugees going into Europe, not out of Europe.
I knew that. If it's a refugee crisis with people from the Middle East, why wouldn't they call it the Middle Eastern refugee crisis? It's like a grapefruit. Where's the grape? Okay, I have our refined problem statement now. Sorry about it earlier. The European refugee crisis is categorized by an influx of refugees from the Middle East, not Europe. And these migrants are forced to flee a foreign country to escape armed conflict or persecution from the Middle East, who are in danger of being radicalized. Eurocom needs to decrease terrorist activity in Europe by 30 to 50% in the next 5 years. And I got that from the interview with the Eurocom commander that we had earlier. Okay, hey, so you had the best candidate solutions by far, so we're going to start with yours, and then we're just going to make suggestions as we go on. Does that sound good?
Yeah. All right. So basically, what I got is we had 4 different values, which were provide education, increase security, religious accommodation, and improve camps. I came up with 4 policies consisting of infrastructural, personnel, assisting, and regulatory. Is that?
Yeah, that sounds good. I don't know about those last 2. What do you think?
I've been here for 20 years and I still have no idea what I do.
So everyone's really firing on all cylinders today. That Johnston guy had great suggestions today. But when we came together, his candidate solutions were good, but we wanted to have our individual ideas put in them too. And all of us kind of agreed that aid was a little bit more important than religious accommodation or infrastructure. So we ended up dropping those 2. We included economic and aid as part of it. But yeah, it's just a great day of work today. Wow, I can't believe how good everyone's doing. Updating the slides, I'll just let you kind of know what we've been working on. But we're on our analysis and our results. So me, Mike, here are the policies that I had come up with in my previous design. They're pretty good, but for the good of the team, I got rid of the communication intelligence. But we all had security, and a lot of us mentioned aid, so I kind of broke out the 2 policies that I had. Joe, he's kind of slacking. He doesn't have anything on here. Even though we're using most of his policies and they were briefed earlier, he's not an A+ worker. Justin's killing the game. I mean, he's absolutely killing it. He has security, I had security. He's got aid, I had aid. Education's new. I'm not a huge fan of that, but we'll leave education there. It's kind of important. And then Saif, really great work too. His aids, policy, I think he meant policy, is really good as well. So he said, like, work hard until you feel ill. Never mind, that's not what he meant to write. But we took everyone's ideas together, and we used his background to kind of come up with our new candidate solutions.
We ended up with having 3 solution design parameters: providing education, increasing security, and giving aid and economic stability. And then we have 4 different policies: infrastructural, personnel, assisting, and regulatory. Infrastructural, we focus on building things in the community, such as schools, walls, and then we help them with money for food and water and shelter. For personnel, we give translators, monitor refugee camps, and then we have another $5 million to countries. Assisting, we buy the books for education, fund local law enforcement, and then we give the $5 million. And then for regulatory, we have skills, limit number of immigrants, and $15 million in food and water. So each one of these we will evaluate for their different, how much they work with the stakeholder, and then we'll look at the different costs associated with each. I got into a fight this morning, and I got hit in the head pretty hard. I don't remember anything that happened in the last 4 hours.
Justin,
So
kill
we
it.
have 4 policy options, and we're going to find the cost for all 4 of them. So basically, each policy has 3 actions associated with it, and each of those actions has been broken down into components. And we found the annual cost of each component and took all of those into the 5-year cost of each action, and then added those all up for the total cost. So Michael, if you want to brief the results.
Yeah, of course. The grasshopper has become the master now. So yeah, we briefed these earlier, but we have the infrastructural policy, right? So we're going to build a school, we're going to build a wall, we're going to give $5 million to 4 countries so that they can help work on their own infrastructure. So the total cost of this over 5 years is going to be about $500 million. So that's a pretty penny, but let's look at the other ones before we judge them. Moving on to the personnel heavy policy. So we're going to provide translators, monitor the camps with soldiers, and we're going to provide $15 million in food, water, and shelter. And this is going to help out the personnel with the refugees. This costs slightly less at $516 million. So it is about $40 million cheaper than the previous one that I briefed you. Moving on to our regulatory heavy policy, we're going to provide skills and trades for specific jobs, limit the number of immigrants, and we're also going to provide $15 million in food, water, and shelter to the immigrants. This one is slightly more expensive than the last one at $520 million. It's about $4 million more expensive than the previous one. And finally, our final policy is the assistance policy, in which we will buy books for the refugees. We'll fund local law enforcement, and we'll give $5 million to 4 countries in order to help with their educational needs of the refugees. This one is actually the most cost-effective policy at $458 million. So of these 4 policies, this one ends up being the cheapest one.
Okay. So, no, hit the white one. No, yep. Yeah, that's, no, what you... Okay. Well, don't just delete that.
Here
Don't
we're
count.
finding the value measures for each policy option. So we have percent English speakers, percent crime and camp decreased in dollars given. And with each of these numbers, we have a value associated. And so it's safe if you want to brief the results.
Looking at our solution value metrics, we would see that the personnel has the highest value, and comes after that is infrastructure, and in the 3rd place would be assisting, and the last place is regulation.
Okay, great work today, guys. Let's take it from the top again. Let's rehearse it one more time, all the way through. Yeah, we were actually done like 2 hours ago, but I just had so much fun hanging out with these guys. I made us rehearse it like 2 more times.
I just want to go home.
I think I might have a concussion.
It is currently 11:36 p.m. on a Friday night.